Hi, Prosperity Team. It's Dr. Money. I'm coming to you from the prosperity corner of the universe, and I have the privilege of sharing part of my story with you, part of my prosperity story. My mom was a wonderful person, but she was very afraid of money. She thought that it was materialistic and that somehow it would taint her. She didn't say this directly, but the way she lived her life showed that this was true. And she passed that fear down to me. But I want to go back and say that I realized at this point that it wasn't really a fear of money that it wasn't money that my mother was afraid of. My mother was just plain afraid. And money was a place to focus that fear. And so she had fear around money. And I inherited it. And I inherited the generic fear. I inherited the fear around money. And for many years, I had a tremendous amount of anxiety and depression and fear. Just so much fear. I mean, my mother was so afraid that she barely did much with her life. I'm not trying to denigrate her. She was an absolutely marvelous and amazing person. But she was also afraid of life. And she stayed at home and didn't go out. I mean, she was divorced when she was very young, which was unusual at the time. But she lived her life in her own world. She didn't have a huge community except our family. And as I said, she passed that fear on to me. And I was afraid of so many things, and I would just feel that fear rumbling in my tummy, and I tried to do everything I could to get rid of it. And one day, I can remember exactly where I was. I was in my bedroom. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee. I was walking across the room, and I just went, "Stop. I am tired of you running my life." I confronted the fear itself as if it was some kind of a ghost following me around. I said, "I will not have this anymore. I'm going to just let you be here. I'm going to acknowledge you. I'm going to quit running away from you, but you have got to be in your place. I will not let you run my life anymore." So I began, when I felt afraid, to experience that fear and to just watch it and say, well, just I mean, you're welcome to just come on through, but you're not running my life anymore. And it took back seat back. It was there if I needed it, but because there are some times when we need fear, but it wasn't going to run my life anymore. So if you have a lot of fear around money, then I suggest you take a step back and look at the fear itself. Because we project our fear of life and just generic fear onto everything. And the more I was present with my fear without making a big deal over it, the more it receded into the background of my life. Fear doesn't run me anymore. I do get triggered into that fear, but I watch it pass on through. I don't hang out with it like I did before. And I found out a lot of things about that fear. Fear was an excuse for me in many ways, just like it was with my mother. If she was afraid of life, she didn't really have to participate. And there were many things that I was afraid of, and that fear just gave me the ticket to freedom, where I didn't have to do that thing because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid. Yeah, I'm just not going to do it. And the less fear I had, then, I went on and did more things. Even if I felt this sense of gnawing concern because I didn't want to go in front of an audience or I didn't want to put myself out there, I wasn't going to let that run me anymore. I mean, it seems like it always showed up, but I didn't let it run me. So that's my advice about your fear of money. Take a look at it. Move back away from just the fear of money into just the plain fear itself. It doesn't have to run me. It doesn't have to run you. It doesn't have to run us. So let's take a step now into the prosperity circle of well-being. We do that by breathing in and out, a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And as we breathe in, we receive our good. And as we exhale it with our invocation that others receive their good as well. And throughout the day, if you have a moment in which you feel not at ease, then take that deep breath of giving and receiving and go back into the circle of well-being. Again, this is Dr. Money. I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember, for sure, that I love you.